Alright, welcome back to the Odryssian Kingdom campaign. We are in a little bit of a threatened position over here with Carthage.
Ready for battle! Ready for battle!
But we're thinking about attacking them. I think I would rather not do that just yet. Instead, I'll go ahead and just start raiding and see what happens. We should be out of range of their garrison, so they can't attack us with the garrison and these two armies, which I think means they won't attack us at all. Now, if I remember correct, just at the last episode, we checked the balance of power here and saw that it was highly disadvantageous. We might be able to win that, but I'd rather not get into it just yet. Now, up here, we are in the process of recruiting an army to go deal with Genua. And Arverni doesn't like us very much, but we're not at war with them just yet. However, they are at war with some of our buddies up here, and it looks like our buddies are not winning. So I definitely want to have the extra troop capacity up here. So we got 6 hoplites. Let's go ahead and get some slingers in this army. Then we'll start adding the cavalry. We'll just get 4 units of those guys. Alright, now we have just lost this settlement. What I want to do is spend one more turn recruiting to get some extra swords in here. Oops, not those guys. These guys. Because we can always hire a bunch of mercenary cav. I would like to catch these guys in the settlement so we can kill them with a land force. Now, in the event that they start moving and don't stay there, I want to be prepared. So we've got the Fury down here protecting this city, but we don't have anything over here, so I'm going to start recruiting an army over here as well. Now I'm actually going to switch this over to tribute collection instead of public order or bread and games. Alright, now let's see. Who do we have available to be a commander? I'd rather have someone a little bit younger than that. He's already an admiral. So we could arrange a political marriage here just to keep loyalty high. Loyalty's already pretty high though. Let's see, she's 18, she's 16. Instead, what I think we're going to do is have Dentuscu get married, and then her husband will be the general. Sword maiden wife, hey, that's perfect. Let's go ahead and give her a couple of extra household members. Alright, now Get Ass is going to get recruited over here. We'll raise up a melee cav army because that's what we're planning on dealing with over here. So we're going to start to have some pretty substantial upkeep costs, but I think it's necessary in order to protect our borders fully. Over here we can go ahead and just get some of these slightly less expensive cavalry units. Because we don't necessarily need as much killing power. Like, they don't need to be as devastating, so I'm not actually planning on these guys getting in a fight. Now, I could lie to you and pretend that I recruited this army here because it's out of range of their fleet, so they can't just immediately attack me and destroy this army. But the reality is I actually wanted to recruit them at Odessos to provide a bit more of a deterrent to any attack from these guys. Alright, so we've got our fleets recruiting, we've got things in good order over here. Now out this direction, let's start moving Candy's Conquerors into position to attack Edessa. We will rotate these guys through just a little bit and try and keep them out of range of the garrison so that they shouldn't attack us. While Grumpy's Guard is going to start maneuvering towards Thapsacos. Because this is the city I actually want to take. That does leave us pretty undefended up here. But I'm suspecting they're not going to counterattack with these small forces. Hopefully I'm right. If not, then all I'm losing is a city that isn't really built up yet anyway, so I'm not too concerned about that. Alright, let me double check that my agents are all deployed. You are not. Let's go ahead and just pop you down over here. Okay, the fleet is at capacity. Let's go ahead and pop them out of the dock here just to help with public order a little bit, because they should have plenty of supplies. Now there's still no mercenaries available, which is a bit annoying. Let's go ahead and upgrade that ship. And the main thing I'm looking for in a navy is the capability to ram enemy ships. So I basically only have one decent option. The problem is they have so many fleets that if they were to come up here, I would be dead, and they actually do have the range to chase me. Because their fleet could get here, and that would be close enough to reinforce this one. So let's actually pull back. Well, let's see, exactly how much range do they have? So they could get all the way over here, so if I come to this side of the port, I should be out of range of their reinforcements, which should hopefully help deter them. And we need to keep both of these fleets in range of the dock. So that if they decide to attack one, we can get reinforced. Well, so that we can get reinforced regardless of which one they attack, I mean. Okay, the spearmen, what are you working on? Since we don't have line of sight on any Parthian armies down here, let's actually stay up this direction to try and help out with some public order problems. Ironically, that has actually decreased our public order here. But it's a net positive when we're in patrol. Let's go ahead and get the building with the higher public order boost and upgrade that. Now, Armasada, we're not going to upgrade. Well, Armasada we probably can. It's Samosada we don't want to spend too much money on just yet. The pillagers get to just keep hanging out up north. Alright, loyalty looks good, our influence looks good. I do want to keep building it up so we can work towards an empire. So ironically, our king does not have the stats necessary to gather support, but his bastard son does. So we'll have him gather support. Let me double check over here that nothing is wildly out of order. Syria, of course, is going to have low public order. Dacia is not being taxed? Or does it just have 0 income? Why does it have 0 income? What the heck is going on here? Are we being raided? Is that what's going on? Why do we have 0 income in this province? Oh, you know what? It may be something from the end of last episode. Maybe like banditry or something. The taxes got stolen this turn. In either case. Let's check over here, and that's where we've got these guys trying to help out. So let's actually send a diplomat or one of our politicians here to boost some public order. So we want to get that into the positive as quickly as possible. Do you know what? Actually, to help with that, we might do an edict here as well. So Italia has taxation. Let's go ahead and just cancel that. We may as well cancel this one for a turn. Did I get the right button that time? Yes, I did. Alright, so we have 2 edicts. First one, we'll go over here and do some public order, some bread and games. It's not quite going to put us into the negative on food, so we can afford to do that. And while we're at it, in Bithynia at Pontus, we've got plenty of public order, so let's go ahead and just do tribute collection. Alright, and now we can end the turn.
Peace is not an easy word. The love of gold can stir evil in men. Give us your gold. Avoid the evil it brings. The spirits have noticed that our treasure stores are wanting. Can you help with this small matter?
We're accepting that defensive alliance not necessarily because we need it for defense, but because we need it to prevent us from getting attacked by these guys. We don't need them to defend us from any exterior threat. We need us to not be under threat from them. Lots of recruitment. Our income actually increased. Let's go ahead and knock some extra food in here, as well as some banditry reduction. Alright, now let's come on down here, hire a couple of mercenaries. Which ones are heavier? 4 armor versus 11 armor. The melee attack is substantially worse. Charge bonus is better. Weapon damage is worse over here. We'll just get these guys. Why not? Alright, and let's attack this. We're probably going to have to fight this, just because the auto-resolve will probably not be in our favor. And if it's bad enough, we might just withdraw. Let's see, because that's just a lot of men to go up against. Let's go ahead and fight it. If I can, I would like to get a foggy day. Obviously what we're going to need to do is try and trap their missile units up against the sea. Come on, give me a foggy day. No? Oh well. Make sure all of the cavalry is in melee. Balance of power is even, but their reinforcing fleet will not be on just yet. Let's see. I'm not really sure which side I think the AI is going to land, so we'll go ahead and just accept this deployment for now, and wait and watch.
Enemy reinforcements approaching.
Okay, they're going to the right side, so let's rotate over to meet them.
Ready! What commando? Aquo! Ah! Swords! Thracian Royal Cavalry!
Let's go ahead and keep our general with the
Forwards!
cataphracts. Now what I'm hoping can happen, since this is mostly their missile army, is these guys will all land before this fleet gets too much closer. Our infantry is going to be primarily used to prevent them from reinforcing from the city.
Thracian Royal Cavalry! Forward! Ready!
We do need to be close enough to actually strike. So let's keep moving forward. We need to be far enough back that we're out of range of their missiles, or else they won't land. They'll just sit back and shoot. Okay, the majority of this left side is moving forward to land, so we're going to run up here and engage as quickly as possible. The remainder out here can hold steady for a moment. We'll start moving some units of infantry up to support as needed.
We'll kill them all. Magako! ready for battle.
Let's run all the way through on these ones just to catch these
Our
edge
general
units
is under
first.
attack.
Ready. Salvation Royal Lancer. Mounted death. Kill. Ready. Thracian Royal Cavalry. Salvation Royal Lancers.
We'll actually go ahead and change direction there. You guys need to move forward. It looks like we're actually in range to just get shot, so let's pull back a little bit.
Battle ready and eager. Royal Lancers.
Okay, our general has run through one unit.
Salvation Royal.
Let's get the infantry moving in range to use their javelins. These guys moving forward a little bit more. These ships still have not quite landed yet because they're shooting our cavalry over here.
Salvation Royal Lancers. Orders.
Okay, we're doing just fine so far.
Thracian Royal Cavalry.
One of our units has used all its ammunition.
Let's go ahead and charge this unit down just to get it off the field. You guys have used your ammo, so drop back and reform a little bit. You guys get over and be ready to reinforce. You guys start peeling out this direction just a touch. Okay, we've engaged where we need to out here. These guys are still winning decisively. As soon as we can, we want to pull back out of that to hopefully get their fleet to land.
Thracian Cavalry. Thracian Warriors.
Our hidden units have been discovered.
These guys can chase in. This unit needs to pull out. We're not quite going to get around their general here, but we need to pull out of that engagement shortly. Let's see if we can get a bit of a charge here. I know our cavalry is mostly in the way, but
Our
we'll still
hidden
give it a
units have been
try.
discovered.
Okay, you guys push forward. You guys come up here and reinforce that. We're still going to take a bunch of missile fire, but at this point we just have to accept that. Now let's pull the cavalry back out of that engagement and try and force these guys to land. You guys reform a little bit so you can actually charge through. Now go hit those guys, because what we want to do here... Whoa, 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 hey, wait a minute. What we want to do here is pull a unit into the flank of these swords. Alright, so we've got a way out of that. We can use the cavalry to protect our flanks over here a little bit. Hopefully their ships will start landing soon. We'll just accept the missile fire because, again, these guys are all going to get disbanded shortly anyway. We will get ready to surround their general unit with cavalry. We just want these ships to land. We don't have like a shield wall or anything available to us, so we'll just sit here and hope their shields and armor are good enough to take the missile fire. And then the other thing we can do is actually pull these lighter cavalry back around over here to run through and kill some missiles. Because we still want to take as much of an advantage as we can get. Alright, they are moving into land. Let's get the cataphracts in position. You guys go kill that unit. Okay, whichever units I didn't tell to engage over here are actually going to spread out this direction.
Royal Lancers.
Okay, they ran away, which means they got charged in the flank,
Riders.
which is just fine with me. Start moving the infantry up to help with this engagement. I know they have a couple of ships that haven't landed yet.
Royal Lancers. Riders!
Let's get as many of these charges as we can into their melee units, just to engage them
Odryssian cavalry!
and hopefully get them kind of stuck.
Royal Lancers!
Warriors, ready!
Okay, that unit is going down. These guys can come through and start hitting all of that. My guys in here are surrounded, so they're going to die at this point. I'm not going to bother pulling them out. I'm going to let them fight it out. Now, this front line, I am actually going to disengage, because that'll open us up for cavalry charges. You guys turn around and charge that. Okay, we are looking good over here.
One of our units has used all its ammunition.
These guys are a little bit surrounded, so let's give them a helping hand. We still have a lot of units to deal with, so we need to be decisive with our kills here.
Our men flee the field of battle.
We're just going to keep pulling back out of that. There's no need for us to stay engaged against hoplites from the front. Let's actually charge that unit. Okay, and the sooner we can get our melee units into these engagements, the sooner we can actually break these smaller units. Because we need to get back away from the sea as quickly as we can. If they charge out to meet us here, they will die. Because out here we can just surround them. They don't have the missile superiority. Okay, things aren't going great against this unit, but we are going to deal with it shortly. Now we still have a ton of melee units to deal with, so let's bring the cavalry in. We'll try and keep these guys out on this flank just to be in position for any rear charges as we get opportunity.
Our hidden units have been discovered.
Go ahead and put them in skirmish mode and try and weaken that unit. Okay, now we need to get out of these engagements quickly.
The enemy general is dead.
Let's go ahead and start rotating our troops into melee. I thought we had a lot more swords than this, so this is actually a little bit concerning now. Okay, you lot pull back. Okay, everyone who has won their engagements just pull back. We unfortunately don't have War Cry available with this general. So let's get a front lines established and then we can move to engage. Let's try and overwhelm that smaller unit of hoplites immediately. These guys can hold our flank. Cavalry start moving around this direction. Okay, this unit has broken. Let's try and get some rear charges out here. Try and overwhelm a couple of these smaller units. Now we're still looking pretty good because we have an enormous cavalry advantage. Now we just need to make sure our infantry survives long enough to hold the line on the front. We have 5 healthy units of infantry. One of them actually returned from routing, which is nice. Okay, let's get a rear charge here if we can. You three actually Yeah, go ahead and keep shooting them.
Race in the warrior! Ready and eager! Sword!
Okay, our morale is extremely low over here, so let's actually bring the general over to this front to try and keep it high.
Salvation Royal Lancer!
Now we've got some more infantry support. We've broken their militia general. Let's bring the cavalry back around a little bit.
Swords! Salvation Royal Lancer! Warriors eager!
Let's go ahead and rally the troops on the front line.
Race in the warriors! Heavy horsemen! Odryssian cavalry! Equal! Riders! Ready!
Now we may actually pull back from this front line a bit once we've eliminated these couple of units.
One of our units has used all its ammunition.
Okay, we're starting to run out of ammo on our skirmish cab, which is okay.
Warriors ready! Advance and sword! We hunger for
Losing decisively.
Salvation Royal Lancer!
That rear charge should hopefully be enough to send these guys packing.
Salvation Royal Lancers!
And then as soon as we rout these units, we're going to pull back
Salvation
and force the remaining enemy troops to land.
Royal Lancers! Riders!
Our hidden units have been discovered.
Let's go ahead and make sure these guys don't do anything stupid. Alright, now this should be the heavily weakened reinforcing fleet, so we should be able to take each of their units on individually without too much difficulty. Once we've got a bit of a front line re-established.
Cavalry! Stay alert!
We can have a proper engagement here. I actually don't want a choke point engagement, if I can avoid it.
Race in the warriors!
Okay, you know what? Let's just go ahead and let our guys rest. They're all fresh, but, you know, a little extra help probably won't hurt. Okay, we've done what we needed to there, so stop using your ammo and pull back away from the front. Alright, now let's just go ahead and sit back and wait for them to land. That's not what I meant to do.
Royal cavalry!
Go ahead and pull back just a little bit. We'll let the cavalry rest up. And we're going to let all of these units get on land. Even though it would be advantageous to trap them in here, I would rather let all of them get on land, so that we don't have to deal with any stragglers. So in the meantime, we'll fast forward. Balance of power is actually pretty well dead even, if not slightly in their favor, it looks like. Use the light cavalry as a missile deterrent. Okay, our front line's going to be here. We'll move these guys around as a flanking force, these guys around as a reinforcing element.
We have discovered the enemy's hidden units.
Gonna take some missile fire. Let's charge out and get them now.
We have discovered the enemy's hidden units.
Okay, front line, go ahead and move up. Because all of their units do have missiles.
Lancer! Macaco! Swords! Odako! Warriors ready! Battle ready and eager! Race in the warriors! Royal Lancers!
Let's go ahead and change targets a little bit. This light cavalry should make pretty short work of their missile units.
Riders! Riders!
Keep moving up the reinforcements.
Warriors ready!
Get the general up here to keep the front line steady. We'll have these guys help with this cavalry engagement as much as possible. Okay, we've dealt with that. Dealing with the sides, try and trap out some of their units. See, this is preventing that unit from actually landing. Okay, they still have a bunch in the center, so let's actually rotate these guys to hold them off for a moment. Let's do an Inspire to try and deal with their infantry as quickly as possible. We can start to get rear charges here. You lot, go ahead and kill that as best you can. Now we're starting to spin things our way. Actually, just give you guys the order to go into combat here. Okay, we're starting to take some missile fire from their last remnants. Let's rotate this cavalry around the flank. We don't have any melee infantry up here to support this fight, but we should outnumber them pretty heavily. Let's try and get a bit of a charge on that unit and break it. Keep the troops happy. Try and make sure everyone stays in the fight. Okay, we are starting to break those last couple of units. We've finally broken the center.
Our men flee the field of battle. This is a shame.
Our guys actually routed, which is a little bit embarrassing. Let's move the general over to help them out and try and get some charges here. And that should be the fight. Alright, so honestly our infantry actually really didn't do very well, but we didn't need them to. We just needed them to survive long enough for our cavalry to do the work. And we fully eliminated one fleet and nearly eliminated the second.
Ready for battle.
Taking the settlement back, we don't have to do any rebuilding. They no longer have the capacity to engage us, which means we no longer need to keep any of these armies. We were ready in case we needed them, but we didn't end up needing them. Up here, I'm actually going to keep these guys for a moment just to help restore some public order, but we are still going to release almost the entire army. We'll actually keep these guys because I wouldn't mind getting them into some of our mainline armies. We'll go ahead and just do this for now. Get a little bit of empire maintenance reduction. Because now at this point our garrisons will easily be able to handle that little fleet, which means their fleet shouldn't bother attacking us. That also frees up the Fury to move back towards the front line, which we will take advantage of immediately.
Ready for battle. Thirsty for battle.
Now this will end up being quite the fight. Let's see, they have 2 units of cavalry. Let's go ahead and just move in here and see what we can see.
Ready for further orders. For the tribe.
Now we actually don't quite have the movement range available to attack this city,
This settlement.
and I'd rather not have my artillery in the reinforcing army because it makes things difficult. What we can do instead is lay siege and prevent them from moving. Now we will take a little bit of attrition as a result, but Funky's field men can handle it. Over here, that frees us up to move in and take this fight. Generally I'd probably auto-resolve this, but since I've got a lot of elite units in here, I'd rather fight it so that I don't have to have a pain in the butt time replenishing. So we'll go ahead and fight this one.
Battle ready and eager.
Alright, so they have 2, maybe 3 units of cavalry. I need to see if I can figure out a better way to use this thing. Because if I put it behind my own units, it won't be able to fire without shooting them. But every time I kind of leave it out in the open, it gets overrun. So maybe I just need to have better timing with my troop movement. This time, let's try having a dense formation immediately to the side of it. Immediately to either side of it. And then as the enemy begins to approach, we can actually form a proper line, have this thing stop firing.
Scorpion.
And we'll see how that does for us.
Bow horsemen. Gotcha.
What kind of range do we have? So we're actually not quite in range to shoot them right off the bat. Okay, we'll have this be our left flank. And this be our right flank. Cavalry available for support in the rear.
Bow horsemen.
As expected, they are immediately moving into position to fight because I have artillery. Since we mostly want to hit their hoplites anyway, we'll go ahead and just put the Scorpion into fire at will. And for as long as they sit here, we are going to keep shooting them. Looks like we have pretty good line of sight still. We're not going to be shooting into our own troops. That's actually a pretty good fire arc at that distance. Let's go ahead and move these guys just a little bit off to the side. We'll shift fire with the Scorpion more to their center because their general is already pretty heavily damaged by that, and take it off of fire at will. Now this is going to leave us with a very, very dense hoplite wall, but that's okay. We've got strong enough flanks that that's not a terrible thing. Alright, now I think I would rather get this started sooner rather than later. So let's go ahead and move the troops now and start working the flanks. Now the bows can step forward and engage the archers, and we'll wait and see what to do with that, because I'm not exactly sure what I want to do with that just yet. Go ahead and charge them with the cavalry. Okay, hoplites, it's time for you to go into phalanx.
We have discovered the enemy's
Everyone over here, throw your javelins quickly. And then the cavalry can charge. Let's get a little bit of infantry support in this cav fight, just to ensure that we win. Now let's pull the Scorpion back so that it has... Excuse me. So that it has some distance to fire over. The bows have eliminated their first target, so we will move them to their secondary target. Start rotating the general around over here. Okay, we'll try and catch them before they get to our hoplites. We're not quite going to make it. But I'm not going to give these hoplites an attack order on a unit that's to their side. This will enable us to flank them. Okay, the Scorpion is in position. Can we get a shot over these guys without hitting our own guys? Just barely. So we'll keep shooting that for the time being. Let's go ahead and make sure we get a charge out here. Start running the general out and around to deal with their archers. As soon as their archers are dealt with... Wait a minute. Oh, I was thinking of the wrong units out here. Okay, you guys can go ahead and stop shooting. Pull those guys back because I messed up their charge. Start telling the bows to rotate around the flank. Now we need to give orders on the front line. Okay, we have the range to hit that now. Let's not mess this up again, so we make sure we get a charge there. We are charging straight into the front of the phalanx, but it's a very light phalanx, so we should start to cut through them pretty rapidly. Our flanks are under control, so let's actually move this unit of hoplites through.
One of our units has used all its ammunition.
And we can start winning our other engagements. Now, this guy needs to stop shooting for a minute, now that we're actually engaged over there. Okay, you guys move over here. You two pull through the center. Let's get some rear charges here. They're not really necessary, but we may as well. We have the troops available for it. Okay, we'll will surround this unit. We will surround this unit. Give these guys room to charge.
Spears ready! Ready for battle! Warriors, eager for blood! Battle ready and eager! Battle ready! Battle ready!
And
One of
that
our
should
units has used
basically
all
be
its
the battle.
ammunition.
Send warriors!
Let's actually move the general over here to help these guys out, because even though they're winning slightly, they're taking much heavier losses than they need to.
Warriors, eager for blood! We hunger for blood and battle!
We've shattered that flank. We're giving them the old rear charge. And that's it. And we had relatively low amount of deaths from friendly fire, which I consider a win, given that I was using that Scorpion. I think most of it actually came from the end, where I was firing into the back of the hoplite unit on the right flank, and some shots went over into my units. But we still did pretty well with it, I think. And that allows us to continue taking territory here. We'll actually just occupy that and use this as a bit of a frontier. And now that we're a little bit more secure and we're starting to rotate more troops over, I'm more confident that we can start to upgrade Samosata.
Ready for battle.
Now what we can actually do here is put him inside the zone of influence.
To battle!
I don't know for sure that this will work,
Fall back!
but we're going to give it a go.
Ready for battle!
Pull these guys around, and they actually still don't quite have the movement range. That's unfortunate. Alright, well, this will be what starts off our next episode, and we'll go ahead and end this one here.